Okay, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today into some source material that, honestly, it pushes the boundaries. We're talking about certain DNA sequences,
Yeah.
maybe inducing electromagnetic waves.
That's right. Specifically, ultra-low frequency waves in water that's been diluted a lot. It comes from research involving Luc Montagnier.
And the starting point wasn't even DNA, was it? It was something a bit unexpected.
Yeah, the hook was this bacterium, Mycoplasma pyrum. They took a culture, filtered it through an incredibly fine filter, 20 nanometers. The idea was to make it completely sterile. PCR negative, no bugs left.
Okay, so totally clean water, theoretically.
Theoretically. But here's the kicker. They added this filtered water to some fresh human cells, lymphocytes, and the mycoplasma actually grew back.
Wait, from sterile water? How?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It strongly suggested that some kind of information about the bacterium, not the bacterium itself, was somehow transmitted through the water.
So that leads to the core finding, these electromagnetic signals.
Exactly. They found that certain DNA sequences from viruses and bacteria seem to induce these ultra-low frequency waves. We're talking like 500 to 3,000 hertz.
But only in very specific conditions, right? The dilution thing is key here.
Oh, absolutely key. These signals weren't found in concentrated solutions. They only showed up when the original material was diluted massively. Think dilutions like 10.9 down to 10.18.
Which is just baffling from a standard chemistry perspective. Dilute more, signal gets weaker. That's the rule.
Right. This seems to break that rule. They called it the dilution paradox. And what's more, the signal strength wasn't tied to the starting amount.
What do you mean?
Well, they tried it with E. coli. Whether they started with, say, 10 billion cells or just 10 cells, the electromagnetic signal they detected was basically the same strength.
So it's not about quantity. It's more like an on-off switch, an all or none kind of thing.
That's how they described it, yes. Like the presence of the sequence, even infinitesimally, flips a switch in the water structure itself.
Okay, so if the amount of DNA doesn't dictate the signal strength, what triggers the signal in the first place?
Now that's maybe the most fascinating part. It seems to be triggered by the ambient electromagnetic background noise, specifically an excitation frequency around 7 hertz.
7 hertz.
Yeah.
That number sounds familiar. Isn't that close to the Earth's natural...
Human resonances, exactly. The fundamental resonance is about 7.83 hertz. And they tested this. They put the whole setup inside a metal cage that blocks magnetic fields.
And the signal disappeared.
Vanished. Which strongly implies this external, very low frequency field is necessary to kickstart the phenomenon.
Okay, that sets up the really critical experiment, doesn't it? The transmission one.
Yes. This is where it gets really wild. They took a tube 1, with a DNA dilution known to produce these signals, placed it next to another tube 2, containing just pure sterile water.
Both shielded from outside noise.
Both inside the metal cage, yeah.
Oh.
But then they deliberately applied a weak 7 hertz magnetic field to both tubes for about 18 hours.
And what happened to the pure water?
The pure water in tube 2. It started emitting the exact same electromagnetic signals as tube 1.
Wow. So the signal, the pattern, somehow transferred to the pure water just through that 7 hertz field.
It seems so, but then they took the ultimate step.
Which was?
They added the basic building blocks for making DNA, primers, nucleotides, polymerase, the stuff you use in PCR. They added that to tube 2, the water that had received the signal.
Okay.
They ran the PCR amplification process, and they detected a DNA fragment.
They made DNA from just signalized water and chemicals.
Apparently so. And when they sequenced it, this newly synthesized DNA was 98% identical to the original DNA fragment that was in tube 1.
That's profound. It suggests water structure, influenced by resonance, can actually store and transmit genetic information.
It certainly challenges conventional thinking. To try and explain it, the researchers lean on quantum field theory ideas about water.
Okay, briefly, what's the concept there?
It proposes that water can form these stable, organized zones called coherence domains, or CDs. Think of them like little pockets that can trap electromagnetic fields. They act kind of like a memory structure.
So the 7 hertz field comes in.
And it perturbs these domains. It might knock some ions around, causing electrons within the domain to start rotating. And it's that rotation, which they propose, generates the measurable EMS signal, the 500, 3,000 hertz one.
So the water structure itself is responding to the trigger frequency.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the practical side? Medical uses.
Well, If this holds up, it's an incredibly sensitive detection method. They report finding these EMS signals in the blood plasma of patients with various chronic diseases, things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, even chronic Lyme, conditions not always thought of as purely infectious.
But the HIV application you mentioned earlier sounds particularly interesting.
Yes, because with current HIV treatments, antiretrovirals, you can suppress the virus so much that standard RNA tests show 0 copies in the blood. The patient seems clear.
But this EMS test can still find a signal.
That's what they report. They detect signals from HIV DNA in these treated patients. It suggests the test might be picking up on a hidden reservoir of the virus, dormant DNA integrated into cells, that the drugs aren't hitting.
So it could be a unique biomarker then, for tracking whether the virus is truly gone, not just suppressed.
Potentially, yes, a tool for eradication efforts, not just management.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the idea that DNA signaling might be naturally stimulated by Earth's 7 Hertz background is already mind-bending. But the final thought that jumps out, waves produced by the human brain itself, especially theta waves linked to memory, also operate right around that same 7 Hertz frequency range. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?